My name is Delamay Devi. I am a piano flute teacher, I'm a mentor, I facilitate retreats, amongst a whole lot of things. I have many offerings for the world. So yeah, I grew up in a very alternative, creative environment on the most easterly point in Australia, Byron Bay. It's well known for yoga retreats, alternative healing. It's quite diverse in the fact of there's a lot of people there who are self-employed and basically just follow their heart. Like, it may sound a little cliche, but these people do actually spend time and meditate on what it is that they're here to do. Yeah, and so a lot of my best friends' parents were yoga teachers, massage therapists, Reiki masters, clairvoyants, and all that kind of high vibrational, fifth dimensional kind of reality. It's normal. Where I come from, it's normal. It doesn't seem like, oh my god, that's so far out and cosmic. It's normal. So that's the kind of reality I grew up in, I guess.
What was your path, or did you have to get past any belief systems, like for yourself or like society or were you just always this like free spirit, teacher?
Throughout my entire life, I've always danced. That's all I've wanted to do. It's like, oh, what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a dancer. Oh, well, where do you want to go? I just want to travel and I just want to dance. I just want to kind of share this creative expression. I want people to have an embodied, authentic experience of themselves. And most importantly, that kind of connects you to your innate self. To what is actually residing inside of you and how to feel. I remember the first time I went to Europe, I was 19, and it was the first time I'd ever felt self-conscious. And I remember just having that sensation, just like, whoa, what is this feeling? Why do I not feel good about myself anymore? Why do I feel like I'm judging myself? Why do I feel like I'm comparing myself to others around me? That has never happened before. So that in itself was a big lesson. And I think, in that space, you kind of begin to create a protective wall, like a shell, like the outer edges of the cookie. Yeah. And then, as time went on, it was, we kind of settle into ourselves as we get older, and we create patterns, and so I felt it probably took another good 10 years to actually come out of that space of being self-conscious and being able to confidently crack the coconut shell, being here in India. It's a great analogy.
So it was December 2014, and it was like the first year that I just finished some of my prana flow training, prana flow yoga training, and we had just moved into a new house, and I was going to start teaching yoga out of the yoga house in Atlanta. And Keme found, and actually right after I moved, I got the flu, and so it was just like everything happened at once, and I was just confined, to the house, getting better. And so right after, when I was starting to get better, Keme found this video on YouTube. It was a winter solstice yoga sequence, and so anyway, she's like, you should see this. Oh my gosh! And so I watched it and was just like completely like transfixed, on this video. And I think at first I just watched it a few times, and then, at the time I had just maybe finished my first two modules, embodying the flow, mandala asanas, and then the elemental module with Shiva Ray. And so, I was still learning prana flow and really studying and reading my manuals. So then when I was watching the video, I was looking and I'm like, that's the 4 movements of lunge, and that's pulsation, and that's the rhythmic vinyasa. And it was the first time where I really saw someone practicing prana flow, outside of Shiva. I mean, you're in class with other people, but you're not always, really looking that deeply at what other people are doing. But it was the first time where I just really saw and I could recognize, prana flow and all these things I was learning. So then I think I looked, in the comments or the underneath the video, right, and found Delamay's website. So then I went to her website and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a prana flow, person, and she assists Shiva, and she goes all over the world and everything. So anyway, like I said, I didn't really practice too much, during that week. I had the flu, but I really wanted to. So then after, I started to feel better, then I just was practicing this winter solstice video over and over again. So there wasn't any, verbal instruction. It was just the music and, Delamay moving and everything. And I was, in my room and, this little corner, like in this new house. And yeah, I just kept practicing. And then like music, I don't even know what song it was off. Again, I'll have to find out. But I just loved the music too. And so I would either, practice the video, or I would just listen to the music, or I would just, watch Delamay. And this went on, well into January. It was like a good month or so. And I felt like that video like just really, sustained me in that period, and just coming into that winter season. So
coming from a background of dance, yoga has always been there. Like I said, some of my best friends, their parents were teaching yoga, and so I would go to their place after school, and they'd be hanging upside down on what we call now yoga swings, teaching in the garden and stuff like that. And so when I studied dance as well, yoga was a huge component within that. And it works as a beautiful tool to support your body as a dancer, really. So as I began to travel, I was with different agencies performing, and I was into a lot of 5 rhythms, and I was looking at studying psychology of movement. I've done dance movement therapy as well, and I found throughout that entire kind of spectrum of experience, the yoga had always been there. It was always like the continuous underlying current, which had always supported my body regardless of what I was doing, where I was. I was living in the UK at the time and teaching dance and choreographing shows, and then I decided to do a teacher training, just more kind of for my own self-development. And it was a great course. It was over 9 months, meeting a few weekends over the 9 months. And the woman who was running it, she has a background in dance as well. She's very much into Osho. It felt more like a self-development course with aspects of yoga. So that was great. So I felt that gave me a really nice foundation for the yoga, to kind of give myself more knowledge just from my own experience and my own practice. And also I would combine some of the yoga asanas within the dance class, whether it be at the beginning for warming up or warming down at the end. And then as time went on, I was really like developing my own practice, but the yoga and the dance were kind of coming together. I was like, what is happening? Is this normal? Like, oh my God.
I think I looked and I saw that you did have a mentor program, and the thing is, and I had this whole thing for years, that, I was looking for a mentor. Well, I went through 2 phases. First, it was like I was looking for mentors, and then it just never really like worked out. So then I was kind of like, I'm not gonna take any more trainings. I'm just gonna like focus on what I know. Because sometimes you start to feel like you're training, and then you feel like you're not doing anything with what you're learning quite yet. This was right before I decided to do the training for Shiva. So then, I came to, I think when you go through this, sometimes it takes you like when you're on this path, is to just even allow yourself to, embrace that, like, okay, I can, take this path into the healing arts, and then that takes some time for people getting through certain belief systems, and whether it's your family or society, because I was coming from a political and legal background, so this seemed like a dream, but like maybe not something that is attainable, or like to the average person or something. So, you know, I had to go through all of that. So I think that's why I didn't really have mentors like coming into my life, because I wasn't really ready at that time for it, because I was still figuring out, you know, like, was this something for me, and did I really believe that this is something I could do and that I could really serve and be helpful, you know, to people. So once I, you know, did that, and then once I started to like train with Shiva and like meet other people and seeing like, okay, you know, this is possible. It's not like, this isn't something, you know, with the healing arts, it just happens to like, you know, 0.9% of the people out there and everything. It's really kind of up to you, your path, and then, you know, if you want to serve in that way. So
I've been traveling and teaching nomadically, living out of my suitcase. I don't have a base. I follow the seasons, so I haven't actually had a winter in 7 years as well, which has just been such a blessing. And I now schedule the cycle of the year, basically in Europe in the summertime, and then in Asia in the wintertime. And with the occasional trips to the States to assist Shiva or to continue studying. Yeah, so I feel very blessed to be on this path. I was based in the UK for 11 years prior to that. My partner and I were like, let's just go. You know, like we traveled a lot, but it was always a case of coming back to our apartment, paying rent, having like a routine, you know, which is great, having friends, which is awesome. But we were both kind of like, you know, we love to travel, so let's just do it full time, you know, and we'll figure it out. He works online, so he can pretty much work where there's Wi-Fi. And for me, by this time, I'd made quite a lot of connections in the yoga community to actually, and they were wanting to host me. I was already getting invitations, like, come to Puerto Rico, come to Malaysia, you know, come here. So, yeah, I just tapped into that community and started creating this journey. Yeah. And so, yeah, we pretty much gave a lot of stuff away, put stuff in storage, and then just went on the road and haven't really looked back. Yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and I've met so many wonderful people. Like, they're family, you know. I have like this global family. I'm so blessed. And then along the way, you know, you develop yourself. You kind of get more of an idea about what else you want to incorporate in your life, like how else you want to bring your dreams to life, I guess. And so within that, I was also receiving a lot of messages on Facebook, emails, and just meeting people and them having all these questions with regards to how do I become a traveling yoga teacher? How do I create workshops? How do I do retreats? How do I do my budget? I want to study more yoga philosophy. Where do I go? Or I want to finish my 500-hour teacher training. How do I do that? So I was really being approached by like a full range of people, whether they'd just finished their teacher training or they'd been on the path for 10 plus years and lacking inspiration. It was literally one morning I woke up and was like, I need to create a mentorship program. Like, it just came to me like, oh my God. You know, like the blinds kind of lifted, the fog cleared. It's like, wow, how come I never thought about this before? You know, I'm here to serve, I'm here to help people. So this is the best way, I think. So literally, I woke up in the morning with that idea. Luckily, so blessed to have a wonderful partner who wasn't actually working that day. So I told him my idea, did lots of brainstorming, lots of writing. We created the page that day and launched it the following day. And then that week, I probably had 3 or 4 emails from people wanting to sign up for the 15-minute chats. I offer a free 15-minute chat to give me an idea of how I can help and the person's goals, intentions, and challenges. And then we take it on from there. You know, I give them my honest opinion of, yes, I can help you, I think we can do this and this together, or I'm sorry, but I have no idea. But to this point, that hasn't happened. You know, it's such an intuitive process for me. It's really about tapping into what's missing in that person's life and to shine the light on areas which will help them on their path.
I was starting to approach the end of my 300-hour in Prana Flow, and I was kind of thinking like, okay, what am I going to do next? And again, it just seemed kind of overwhelming. And so I kind of, in a way, held on to what I wanted to do, but then it still, started to seem like a little, not impossible, but just I really wasn't sure how to execute it. And then Amma came into town to Atlanta. She'd never been to Atlanta before, so she came into Atlanta for one of her events there. And that's when I had my first Vedic astrology reading, and one of her devotees, she was saying like, you have to have this international life, you have to travel. And that's like something I always felt, but again, just how it was all coming together was still, it just was like right outside my grasp. So then, it was kind of like hearing that all over again. And then of course through Amma, of course I was like really paying attention and everything, but it was just reinforcing what I already felt. So then like literally a day or two later, you I think posted something on Facebook, and you were saying, consultation if you're interested, and I think you had posted it before, and I missed it, at the time, and I was like, oh no, like I missed it, and and everything, and then it came back like right around that same week. So then I signed up, and then I think we had our first conversation like within a few days or so, and then we talked, and you said like, okay, yeah, you're ready, like let's if you're ready, I think you're ready, like let's go to the next step. So then it was kind of then you were coming to India, and like, oh my gosh, I'll get to meet her, and and everything was just very organic, and it was like low stress, and then it was kind of like after I first talked with you, everything just like it just seemed like it was just everything was just so simple, like, oh, like why didn't I think to do this and that. So then that's kind of like where we are, and then now it's like things are what seemed like out of grasp is like slowly one step at a time, like starting to come back into the fold. Question, I read I don't know if it was one of your mentees or someone, but they were saying particularly like the work that you'll do, or about like opening up the heart, or through the back bends, and I was just wondering, because I feel like that was something for me, as far as my creativity and like the heart chakra, like what can you do to really just keep that heart chakra opening and energy, running through? Is it just through the asanas, and like what would you recommend to people to really just keep enhancing that creative energy?
It's all about the joy. The essence of Anahata, the heart chakra, is the joy card. So if you are able to do things daily, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, for the whole cycle of the day, anything that brings you joy is going to keep the flower of the heart, the lotus of the heart. I believe that. I feel it.
So that's how I met Delamay, and she's just as lovely and charming and sweet and wonderful as I thought you would be, and just in talking over Skype. So I'm so thankful for you starting the program, and I'm just thankful for those people who did grow up in those environments, that like you are willing to kind of share those things with other people, because a lot of people don't. And then it just does seem like two worlds, and if you didn't get the luck of the draw to grow up in those kind of free spirit communities, or parents like that, then but I mean, of course everyone's born into where they need to be, but I'm so glad like people like you and Shiva are sharing different ways that people can get onto that path, and to offer whatever they offer to the world, and tap into their creativity. So maybe just say where people can find you.
Okay, so to check out where I am, what I do, what I'm offering, my website is www.delamaydevi.com.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Delamay, for taking this time.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
I just knew you had been doing this for years, and then you told me it's just